It's 1888. London is the most powerful city in the world. The British Empire stretches across continents. Queen Victoria sits on the throne. And you, a detective with the Metropolitan Police, have just been handed the most baffling, frustrating, and career-defining case of your life. You don't know it yet, but you are about to chase a killer who will never be caught. A killer who will become the most famous mystery in human history. A killer the newspapers are already calling Jack the Ripper. Welcome to Whitechapel, East London. Population, overcrowded. Poverty level, catastrophic. Smell, let's not go there. Whitechapel in 1888 is everything the glamorous British Empire doesn't want you to see. Narrow, filthy streets. Crumbling tenements packed with desperate families. Prostitution on every corner because women had no other way to survive. Disease, alcoholism, violence. This is the world you work in every single day. And tonight, it just got a whole lot darker. It's August 31st, 1888. 3:40 in the morning. A car driver named Charles Cross is walking through Bucks Row when he spots something on the ground. He thinks it's a tarpaulin. He gets closer. It is not a tarpaulin. It is a woman. Her name is Mary Ann Nichols. She is 43 years old, and she has been murdered with a precision and brutality that makes even your most experienced colleagues go pale. You arrive at the scene. You take notes. You ask questions. Nobody saw anything. Nobody heard anything. In a street packed with people, a woman was killed in complete silence. Your first clue is also your first dead end. Here's what makes this case different from anything you've handled before. Most murders in Whitechapel are straightforward. A drunken fight, a robbery gone wrong, a domestic dispute. They're tragic, but they're solvable. This is different. There is no obvious motive. There is no witness. There is no weapon left behind. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing and exactly how to disappear into the night. You've been a detective for years. You've seen bad things. But something about this one makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. You don't say it out loud, but you know this isn't over. You're right. 8 days later, on September 8th, it happens again. Annie Chapman, 47 years old. Found in the backyard of 29 Hanbury Street at 6 in the morning. This time, the killer was even more deliberate. More surgical. The wound suggests someone with anatomical knowledge, a doctor, a butcher, a surgeon. Someone who knows the human body. Your list of suspects just got both longer and more specific at the same time. The press is starting to take notice. The headlines are getting louder. And the people of Whitechapel are getting scared. Then comes the night that breaks you. September 30th, 1888. The double event. In a single night, Jack the Ripper kills twice. Elizabeth Stride at 1 a.m. in Dutfield's yard. Catherine Eddowes at 1:45 a.m. in Mitre Square, less than a mile away. You were out there that night. Every available officer was out there. And he still did it. Twice. In the same night. Under your watch. The city erupts. The newspapers print letter after letter supposedly from the killer taunting the police. One letter arrives with half a human kidney preserved in wine. It is addressed to the head of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee, with a note saying he fried and ate the other half. You read that letter, and you sit in silence for a very long time. Let's talk suspects because there are many, and none of them are satisfying. Montague John Drew, a lawyer and teacher found dead in the Thames in December 1888. Many believe he was the Ripper and took his own life out of guilt. Aaron Kosminski, a Polish immigrant barber living in Whitechapel, known to have a deep hatred of women. George Chapman, a serial poisoner later hanged for murder. Even a member of the royal family was suspected at one point, Prince Albert Victor, Duke of Clarence. You investigate all of them. You find circumstantial evidence, conflicting testimonies, and more questions than answers. Nobody is ever charged. Nobody is ever convicted. November 9, 1888. Mary Jane Kelly. The fifth and final canonical victim. She is 25 years old, and she is found in her own room at 13 Miller's Court. This one is the worst. Unlike the others who were killed outside, Mary Jane Kelly was killed indoors. The Ripper had time, and he used it. You stand in the doorway of that room, and you make a decision. You will solve this case. You will find him. You will bring him to justice. You write that in your notebook that morning with total conviction. What you don't write, what you can't bring yourself to write, is the possibility that you won't. You don't. Nobody does. The murders stop as suddenly as they started. No arrest. No confession. No definitive answer. Just silence. Jack the Ripper vanishes back into the fog of Whitechapel and is never seen again. Over the next decade you will review the files hundreds of times. You will chase new leads that go nowhere. You will read theories that range from plausible to completely absurd. And every time a new suspect is named you will pull out that old notebook and go through the evidence one more time. Just in case. Here's what history eventually tells us. More than 130 years later, the case remains officially unsolved. Over 500 suspects have been named by researchers, authors, and amateur detectives across the world. DNA evidence presented in 2014 pointed toward Aaron Kosminski, but the findings were contested and never officially accepted. The letters sent to police, including the famous Dear Boss letter that first used the name Jack the Ripper, were likely written by a journalist trying to sell newspapers. The real killer's identity died with him, wherever and whoever he was. So you, the first detective on the Jack the Ripper case, spent your career chasing a ghost. A phantom with a knife and a grudge and the uncanny ability to disappear. You weren't incompetent. You weren't lazy. You were hunting someone who was simply better at not being caught than anyone you had ever faced. And in a strange, deeply unsettling way, that's exactly why we're still talking about him today. If there's one thing this case teaches us, it's that sometimes evil doesn't get caught. Sometimes it just stops. And that is somehow even more terrifying. If you made it to the end of this one, you already know you're built for this channel. Subscribe to Stick and Sinister, new video dropping next week, and trust me, it's another one you won't want to watch alone. I'll see you then.